Hey everybody, welcome back to Mel's Board Game Room, and we are going to continue with our top 100, and we're on 80 to 71. But before we get into that, just want to mention that we have a sponsor called Games and Couple, which is a portion of Oshrat online counseling services. So they concentrate on couple counseling, where they follow the Gottman Institute kind of principles. And what they discovered that gaming, especially cooperative gaming, really met and followed those principles in counseling sessions. So they utilize a lot of board game in their sessions. So be sure to give them a look up. We'll put their ads, we'll put the link in the descriptions below. Wow, that was a bad intro.
Are we redoing that?
No, we're not redoing that. I don't redo. So we're just going to keep it
running wild.
So we are now on 80 to 71. So we should be getting to the good stuff. These are probably games that Travis have now played more than once.
At least twice. At least one of them will have played twice.
All right, so might as well get started. So number 80.
Good. Okay, so number 80. My number 80 is a game that we just got... probably 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Oh, geez.
So I had to sneak it onto the list. I said, Mel, delete this other game and throw this one on the list because it's way better. So this is a game that, I don't know, the basic game is all right. It's one of those staples in the house, but this one just pumped the game up so much more, and that's Ticket to Ride. Legends of the West. So this is the legacy version of Ticket to Ride.
Right.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. We've played it about halfway through now.
In 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks. And
yeah.
I play one game a month. So that's pretty
that's pretty
big. So but yeah, it's been great. And I mean, so far it's pretty much just Ticket to Ride with that little extra sneaky bit here just to change up the game a little bit, but it is just Ticket to Ride. The board, you start out with just a small, so this is the basic board, no spoilers or anything like that. As soon as you open the box, you're going to start with these 2 zones. And then basically every time you play through the game, your train supply is going to get a little bit larger. You're going to start with 20 trains and you'll go up to, I think it's like 60 or something ridiculous like that. So the last game is going to take us hours, I'm sure. But, and then whoever wins the game gets to pick a new board to add to the thing. And yeah, it's really neat. Like there's so many great little things in it, but I don't want to say anything.
You kind of can't.
Because it's all just spoilers if I do. But
so
yeah,
it follows the base of Ticket to Ride.
It is Ticket to Ride.
Where you're collecting cards that'll have different colors that you're trying to do a combination to build the routes.
Yeah, okay. For sure. And then you score points based on the routes that you're trying to get points for, the little tickets. So yeah, it's really good. If you like Ticket to Ride, you'll love this.
Nice.
If you don't like Ticket to Ride, you might like it.
You might like it still.
You might like it. Like Ticket to Ride is, I think it's one of those staple games. It's one of those games that everybody should own.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would play it just on my own. I would never just pull it out on my own.
Yeah.
But when I heard this was coming, we figured we'd give it a try because the kids are a little bit more into gaming now, and they love it. It's great. It is
Ticket to Ride, like just the basic version, is an easy one to get to the table. It's an easy one to get people into. Mostly if they're not into gaming, or it's a good one to introduce people to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now this one looks cool because it looks like you add puzzle pieces to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a puzzle piece, but it's just how the board connects. But yeah, like you're starting in the East Coast and you're just working your way west. So there's going to be cowboys and robbers and all kinds of crazy things that'll happen throughout the whole game. So,
it does sound interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. And I mean, as legacy games go, like I've played through a couple of legacy games now that have taken like 30 plays. This is going to be 12 plays period.
Oh, okay.
And that's it. And your first game is going to take, like, it's such a small board and you only start with 20 trains that your first game is only going to take you half an hour. True. And I'm thinking your longest game is going to be an hour. So really, like, if you and a game group had a weekend, you could probably bust through it pretty easily.
Oh, okay, if you wanted to, yeah.
So, or spread it out like we are.
Yeah, no, that's kind of nice. Then you get to savor it between games, right?
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And then you don't play it for a week and you're itching a little bit and you want to play it, but that's okay. So that's my number 80, Ticket to Ride Legacy.
Nice.
Legends of the West.
Nice. Yeah, I don't do tons of legacy games just because I have a commitment issue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
And then also, if you play with the group, to get that group together to move along with it. So if I do legacy games, I like to do that just me and Lee because I know where he lives. He lives right here.
Oh,
so it's easier to get that to the table and to be able to kind of schedule those plays in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I played a legacy game with one of my buddies over the pandemic, and it was perfect because we just set up a camera and we were able to play it, just the two of us.
Nice.
And it worked out really well.
Perfect. All right, my number 80, and if you saw, you already know, and that's Foundations of Rome. This one was on my list last year as well. It actually came down quite a bit. This came down 32 positions. Now, and with Foundations of Rome, it's a game that I do not intend to purchase, mainly for the price. It's a pricey game. Like, it'd retail around $300.
Yeah.
And the size, this takes a whole cubby in a Kallax shelf. So just the giving up that much space for one game. And I find like there's other games that kind of give me that same itch. But that being said, this is a really good game. So I want people to own it. Actually, we were at the Acme Game Day over the weekend, and my friend Lyle was there, and he has it on order. So I was like, great, this is good. I want you to own it so we can play it. But it is very satisfying. Reminds me a lot of Bunny Kingdom and Chinatown. Like, those all have this very similar mechanism. Chinatown is very much negotiation. And then Bunny Kingdom is kind of card drafting. But this one is more bidding, like you go and acquire the cards that you want. That's going to give you the locations that you want because you're trying to create clusters in the board so that you can put your bigger buildings and build that up. So now some buildings are going to give you income, some are going to give you populations, some are going to give you points based on what it's surrounded by. It is just, and it plays fairly quick. I think it plays, what does it say here, 60 to 90 minutes.
Oh.
I think that's longer than what the games have played. Either that or it just flew by and I didn't realize it was 90 minutes that had gone by. But this one does play fairly quick. And then the boards are beautiful. Each player gets their own tray of buildings. And then on there, it shows what the buildings do. So as you pull the building out and it's on the board and you need to figure out, okay, what's my income? You don't need to kind of find them on the board. You can just look on your, and whatever's revealed shows what your income is, and your population will show what's revealed as well. So it's really well made.
Oh, for sure.
Components are amazing because all the buildings are 3D. Yeah. Actually, we can show. Yeah. They're all 3D. It looks beautiful. It looks beautiful.
Well, I'll be honest, this picture I don't think does it justice.
It really does not, honestly.
It just pops on the table.
It really does. Well, because I wanted to be able to show a little bit of everything, right?
Absolutely.
So, but it's just a really neat game. It looks beautiful. It's fun to play. I don't know if I'll ever own it. Unless a really great deal comes along, then I probably will. But do you know how many games you can buy with $300?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I know last time we were talking about those. I can't remember what the game was, but it was one of the taupe games or one of the vanilla games that is it due for that upgrade?
Oh, I think it was Thebes.
Thebes, there you go. So now, like, is a game like this maybe due for a downgrade?
But
because
if you've played this, would you go for less?
I think I would. I think I would be happy with just a tile game where, I mean, it's not going to give you that same experience, but if you enjoy the game, I mean, if you could get it for $80.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what, I don't know. And then let us know what you think. Yeah. Would you play this game if it was downgraded in cardboard pieces, cardboard tiles instead of the 3D? Like, and I would think if they went cardboard and then upgraded it afterwards, that would be better received.
Yeah. When I don't know, has a game ever downgraded?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Like,
Or like you will have games that comes out and then have, like the deluxe version, but you can go regular retail
at the same
version
time.
at the same time. So
I don't know that I've ever seen them go backwards.
no, I don't know. And I don't know how much interest it would be, because if you're playing, it was like, I just wish I had the 3D pieces.
Well, I think the other problem with this one too is if you want it, it's hard to get. Like, I don't know if you could just go buy one right now.
Right now, I don't know. I know they had done like a re-release at one point because it was all gone, and then it was hard to get, and then they did a reprint, and then all gone again. So
I don't know. I mean, personally, I would never buy it. I like playing it. I played it a couple times at that first Melcon. Well, the first one that I went to, so like Melcon 9. Yeah,
well, the first public one. So and that's the first time I played it as well.
Yeah,
and it was a beautiful game for sure.
Yeah, but I think I would almost prefer a downgraded version myself, just because then it fits on my shelf.
True.
But,
yeah. So that's my number 80, Foundations of Rome.
Foundations of Rome. That's a good one. Okay. My number 79 is in a huge line of games. Well, no, they're not huge, are they? They're tiny.
Oh, this is, I have no idea what it is.
So this is my number 79. This is Tiny Epic Quest.
Oh, I do like Quest.
So this is one of my favorites just because I was a video game kid when I was younger. And one of my favorite NES games back in the day was The Legend of Zelda. And this is, in my mind, Legend of Zelda, the board game.
Yeah.
So it is fairly light, but it's great. So basically what it is you're going to have a grid of cards in front of you, and each of those cards is going to have 2 different locations on each of the cards. And there's going to be movement cards set up. So on your turn, you're going to choose one of the movement cards, and you're going to take that action. So you might move on a griffin, so you might be able to fly from one side of the board all the way along on a diagonal to the other side. Or you might take a boat and travel vertically, or a horse and travel horizontally. And then you'll end up on a tile, and you're going to do that action. Well, depending on when it is. But you're going to put your player on that, and if it's a daytime action, you'll take the daytime action. And then, just like all the other Tiny Epic games, as soon as I choose my action, you have the option to follow me. So Mel could also take the griffin action. And end up where she wants to be. And then you go through and everybody moves during the daytime, figures out where they want to be. And then the nighttime phase rolls around. And during the nighttime phase, you're going to fight goblins and you're going to explore tombs and temples. And it's just like, it's mixed up a whole bunch. Like there's all kinds of different little mini mechanisms. Like when you're going through a dungeon, you can push your luck and try to get as far into the dungeon as you can to get that great reward. And then endgame scoring is just kind of based off of what you've done. Like you have little goal cards that you're like little quest cards that you're trying to complete, and you can score based on how far up certain tracks you are, because you have little tracks on your personal player board showing how your magic level is overall and how many goblins you've killed throughout the game. And it's just, I don't know. It's one of my very favorite Tiny Epic games. I mean, it's great. And it was the first game to come out with those ridiculously cute item meeples.
They are cute.
It's just a plastic meeple with a little silly weapon or lantern or whatever that you jam in there just to show that, hey, you know what? I'm not just a meeple. I'm a meeple with a shield. And all the items have little bonuses to them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love Zelda. Old school Zelda. I haven't played any of the new stuff, but my family loves it. But I mean, it's to me, it's Legend of Zelda, the board game.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like with this one too, like in the night phase, there's a really strong push your luck element, because you roll the dice, but like when you roll the goblin dice, you share the hits with everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, I take the first one, you take one, oh, back to me, then I take the second one, and so on. Now, as people end their turn and they return to camp, now you have less people to share that damage with until you're like on your own, and they're like, okay, But you also, during the day phase, kind of set what you want to accomplish in the night phase.
Yeah.
So you'd be like, okay, well, I want to learn some spells. But you can skip ahead and be like, okay, well, I'm going to learn 3 levels of spells. So I need to do all of this to be able to reach that far. And if you don't reach that far, you can't be like, okay, never mind, I'll do 2. Like, you've set your goal. Like, it's all or nothing. So you're kind of like, well, I really need another mushroom. And you're like rolling for it.
But if I roll 3 goblins, I'm done.
And there's nobody else left. Like it is interesting. I like that about it. And then you have the little item meeples and you get your wand. And then because you have some items that'll be available to everybody. Yeah. And then you'll have specific items that you can only get in the market. And it gives you a special ability. Like it is well made.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just like any other tiny epic game. They jam as much in there as they possibly can.
Yeah.
And even the little mini expansion's kind of cute, chasing down mushroom people or something like that. It's been a while since I played that, but yeah, that's my number 79. Maybe my first tiny epic game on the list.
Oh,
maybe
is there
my
more?
Last.
There are a lot of tiny epic
there
games
are so
out
many.
there.
There are so many.
Nice.
But yeah, that's my number 79 tiny epic quest.
Very good. All right, my number 79, and I have to look down because I didn't remember what it was. And this one's a party game. It's a fairly newer one that came out that I added to my collection a few years back, but this is one that goes over well all the time.
Okay.
And that's Just One. And Just One is, for one, it's very simple to teach, so it's super easy to get playing. So you don't lose anybody in the explanation. Everybody gets a little plastic teepee in front of them and a dry erase marker. And this is a cooperative game. So we're all playing together. You take a card. You don't look at it. If you're the active player, you put it on and then it faces out and you pick a number between, I think it's 1 and 5. Yeah. So 1 and 5 would be like, okay, I picked 2. And you don't know what that number or what the letter is or the word is next to number 2, but everybody else can see it. And then they all take the little plastic piece and then they're going to put in a 1-word clue. And they all write it down. And then you close, the active player kind of looks away because they all show each other what the clue is. Because the idea here is you want to come up with a unique clue. Because if there's any duplications, those are erased and they don't get given out. So instead of getting 6 clues, now you're getting 4 maybe or whatever. 2. Or 2. We've done it where you get no clues. Good luck. you know? So you want to be a little unique, but you also want somebody to go fairly obvious so that the person can guess what the word is. And then sometimes people kind of go different interpretation with the word as well. And be like, because in this case, it was milk, white, Belgium hazelnut, dark,
it'll
and
be
sweet.
chocolate.
It's chocolate. That one's obvious, right?
But if it was white and dark.
And that's all you had, white and dark. Like, what?
Yeah.
Is white and dark, that doesn't go together. Right? It'd be, I don't know, storm. So your mind might go somewhere completely different. But it is so entertaining. It's very interesting to watch play as well. It's just a funny game to play. And it's just, every time that one goes over well, so well, everybody gets into it. It's just a lot of fun.
I just played it the once. And I just remember it was great because I was the guesser. And I think all of the words were gone. Except for veiny.
Veiny.
And for some reason, my mind just went to a leaf.
Oh, and you were right?
I guessed it, and Kayla's, it was crazy. It was what are the chances?
My God. How have you just played this the one time?
Because it's only come out the once, and I don't own it.
Oh, I guess.
If I don't own it, and we don't play it in a group, we probably don't get a lot of plays. But,
no.
But I do love it. It's...
Yeah. Veiny. That's funny. My mind went Hulk.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. See, he's veiny, I guess, or must, I don't know.
You got all the, anyways.
Yeah, it's a great little game, though, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one you could play with anybody who can write.
Who can read and write, for sure.
But so
that was my number 79, Just One.
Just One.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Okay, so my number 78 is a game that, guess how many times I've played it?
2 times.
Probably 2 times. I owned it for a very short period of time because I really liked it, but I couldn't get it back to the table. But it's like a little deck builder. Well, it is a deck builder where we're all going to have different. Well, no, we're all playing off the same decks. Well, I'm just going to push the button.
Yeah.
So it's Dale of Merchants.
Okay, yes.
So in Dale of Merchants, you preset the deck. I think there's other games like Dominion and stuff where you do something similar, but you pick which animals you want to be involved in your game.
Mm-hmm.
So you might choose the Eurasian beaver and I don't even know the other names of the animals right now, but you'll pick 2 or 3 of them, you shuffle them all together, and depending on what the animal is, they all have kind of like, some of them are take that, some of them are like a negotiation-y type thing, and so you shuffle them all together, and then you just basically play a deck builder game where you're building 8 rows of cards, and you're just I don't know, like, I mean, I don't remember all the details of it again, like I'm really knowledgeable with board games. But yeah, you're just building your own little thing, and you have to use I think you have to use the existing cards in your row to power up to get the bigger cards or something like that. But I don't know. It was really cute, and I remember all of the reviews that I saw. They just really, really intrigued me. So I got it to the table a handful of times with the family, primarily my wife, I think, but it just didn't click for her. So I didn't get as much exposure to it as I'd like to, but. It's one that if I ever see the big box version,
you're getting it,
I would probably grab it.
Okay. Yeah, this one's interesting because it kind of plays in 2 portions, and really this is a race game because you're racing to get your cards out from 1 to whatever the number is.
Yeah.
Because that's the ultimate goal. Now, on your turn with your cards, you can either activate the card's ability, or you can add it to your
tableau.
Well, I guess tableau, right?
Yeah.
The lineup. And now, but you can also combine cards together to add up to the number that you need as well. Because I think that bigger numbers, they don't actually come out. So you need to combine cards together.
For sure.
The first time I played this, we kind of read the rules and played it. And the end was so anticlimactic just because we didn't realize it was a race game. So we didn't play it as a race game.
Oh.
So it was just like, oh, okay. So I guess I won. And it was just, I think that kind of totally, plus I was playing with my ex-husband at the time who did not want to play. So he grumbled the whole time. So I had such a bad taste of that first play that I'm like, okay, I'm not going to keep that one. But the concept was interesting. Shot. Yeah, I know, honestly, I kind of looking more into it now. I was like, okay, I see what we did wrong with it. Yeah. So knowing that you're playing as a race game, because you want to do the actions, but really and you can get caught up in that, but the main goal is to build your tableau
stalls.
Or whatever.
You have 8 stalls that you're trying to build.
That you got to fill in,
and you have to number them. But I mean, it's unfortunately you had a bad experience because I really dug this game, and I mean, you can get the base box of either one or 2.
It had tons of like the Dice Tower, like. Tom Vassell loved this game, and he just raved about it. And I was like, oh, well, I must have this game. And I was like, oh. And it just, I think having a better understanding of how the game played or what you were trying to accomplish with the game would have changed the feel of it.
Sure.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely give it a shot. If it's ever just sitting out there, grab a copy and give it a shot to my number 78, Dale of Merchants.
My number 78 is, I think it's old. This game was published in 2010. So it's an older game, but
not that old.
But it looks old. And that's Railways of the World, the card game.
Oh.
Right? Like
it looks really intriguing.
It's a really old looking game. And I have since played Railways of the World, the board game, but for the longest time I just owned the card game. And I played it. Loved it.
Really? Okay.
It's so neat. It has a bit of a Ticket to Ride feel where you're collecting cards and you're trying to get same colored routes so that you can build the routes. But you will have cards that'll come up that'll be stations. And the stations will have like a certain value to it. So it has to be so many rails away from it. And around the station, there's also a color value. And that's the type of goods that location wants to receive. Oh. So it's kind of pick up and deliver game as well.
Yeah.
So it also has some cubes on it, and those are the cubes that you can collect to deliver to other stations. And as you build, like you'll put, okay, I build this one, I put my color train on it to show that that's mine, I'm the one who built it. And there's an area control element to it as well, because at the end of the game, you're going to score the stations, but whoever has the most tracks going to it is going to score that station. You have locomotive cards, because when you deliver, you can only deliver as far as you have locomotive cards too.
Oh, okay.
So, or you could spend them as a wild. But then it was like, okay, well, I want to start delivering there, because the further you deliver, the more points it's going to be worth. But you can't, like, I have a black goods and I want to go to that station that receives black goods over there, but I'm going to skip this black. You can't skip a station that would take it. So you would either take a different route or you have to drop it there. But so if I want to go 5 away, well, then I need to have 5 locomotion cards in order to be able to jump from station to station to deliver my goods to that. The whole thing is brilliant. I love it. And then you have like the train track card that keeps track of your score. So you just move the train along this looping track, and then that keeps track of your score there. And then it was always just me and Lee playing it, and they loved it. And then I had my friend Sasha come and then played it with his family, and they loved it as well. So I was like, it's not just me. It's a really good game. So,
well, I mean, it looks a lot better than the box does. So don't judge a book by its cover.
I don't know how I ended up with that one either. I think it was like at FallCon, and they were selling a couple of games at the end, and then for really cheap, and I grabbed it. Because you know what? I wanted to do theme game nights, and then kind of decorate for it. And I wanted to do be able to do a train night sometime. So I had, and which I'm totally ready now. I have tons of train games now, but that's probably the reason why I picked this one up, and it didn't look good, but it was so good. And that's my number 78, Railways of the World, the card game.
Well, it looks okay. I think I would try it. So, of course, I'll try most games. But
there's that.
But yeah, so now we're moving on to our number 77s. So my number 77, let's see if you can guess what it is before I announce it, but it was Tom Vassel's number 1 game for a long time, I think.
Oh man, I could just look.
Any idea?
That's gonna bug me now.
And what do I love? I love negotiations. So
it's a negotiation game.
Yeah.
That Tom Vassell loved.
So my number, 77 is Cosmic Encounter.
Oh, see, I've never played it, so I didn't know.
You've never played it?
I've never played it.
Oh, Mel. I wish I owned it so we could play it. But I got rid of it because nobody would play it with me.
Because it plays really long. It's a really long play, isn't it?
No. I don't remember it being long at all. I think we were well under an hour every time we played it.
I must think of something else.
Yeah, maybe. So in Cosmic Encounter, you are a certain color. So I might be the yellow. So I might have a whole bunch of spaceships and then a whole bunch of yellow planets. And the idea is you're trying to colonize 5 other planets first. So it's like a race game, but you can tie and share a victory. So if there's a table of 4 of us, you're gonna draw a card, and you're gonna it's gonna be this general card that you flip over, and it might say you're interacting with green this turn. So my only option is to interact with green. So I have to figure out some kind of shady way to either attack his planet, or maybe I can be like, hey, you know what, Green? Why don't I put one of my ships on your planet and you put one of your ships on my planet? So we can do that. Okay. And then we have a handful of cards where they're going to be number values. So if we are in a combat, we can say, hey, I think regardless of what we're doing, if Mel and I are negotiating with each other, I can say, hey, you know what? Why don't we just negotiate? And we'll figure out a way to make this work. So we'll just both use negotiate cards. And you put the card face down, and then 1, 2, 3, you flip it up. And if they're both negotiate, then everything's good.
Because you could say we're negotiating, but then you
or
don't.
I could just play a 9, which is 9 combat value plus all of my ships that are potentially invading your planet. So, and I can take over that way. And you can have other people in the group. So if Mel knows, because Mel knows I'm not going to negotiate in good faith, I'm going to probably play a sneaky card, but she could think, I'm going to play a sneaky card too. But I could also say, hey, Lee, do you want to join in and help take out Travis? So, and then Lee could like throw some power in there, and Mel could be like, you could put one of your ships on my planet if you help me. And yeah, it's really good. Like, it didn't play very long. Like, we got it to the table a couple of times with the family. Now, I've only played it with my family, which they were probably like 10-year-old kids at the oldest at the time. But yeah, I love the negotiation aspect. It's right down my alley. Like, it hits home for me. And there's an expansion that gives you the black player, and I love playing the black tokens all the time. So I had to get that one right away. But yeah, and it plays. I think it plays quite a few. Like, I think the base box is 3 to 5, but there's a handful of expansions that give you a whole nother player. And I think a game of this with like 8 people, if it goes that high, would just be ridiculously fun.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, but that's my number 77. Mel doesn't have much to say because she doesn't have a game.
I've never. I mean,
when was
everybody
the last
talks
time
about
Mel
it.
hadn't played a game?
There's a lot that I haven't played.
Not on my list.
No, because you play with me.
There you go. That's true. That's true.
But yeah, I mean, like, this is one that everybody talks about, and I just haven't played it yet. Now, I also thought this was like a really, really long game. And I'm not interested in sitting 4 or 5 hours at a table for one game. I prefer to sit 4 or 5 hours at a table and play like 6 games.
Well, I think you could play 6 rounds of this in 4 or 5, like 6 games of this in 4
Oh,
or 5
I see. Okay, yeah.
And I mean, it's an old game. It's been around a long time. I think it's been reprinted a few times. Like, I know it's a 1977 game. Great year. And
It's that old. Wow.
yeah. Now this version's the 2008,
right?
But yeah, I don't know. It's a fun game. Definitely, if you ever have it at a convention or something like that, sit down.
It's worth giving it a try.
It's totally worth a little bit of time. But that's my 1977 game, number 77.
Did you do that on purpose?
No, not at all. Cosmic Encounter.
All right, my number 77. I'm going on with the theme of trains here still. And this is another train game that I bought for my train theme game that I will one day host. Like, train game day, maybe. We'll see. And this one is Whistle Stop.
Oh, okay.
So I had heard lots about it, and then it was like I knew nothing about it, so I bought it, and I was like, okay, well, let's give it a try and see. And it's actually a very interesting puzzle because everybody starts on the one side of the track, and you're going to be moving your train forwards and adding tiles to it, and then the tile will send the track one way. Now, you need to spend coal in order to be able to move forward, and you go from one till you hit like the next stop, and then the stop will be like a little cube thing, and then you get to collect that, or you'll have like the stations. And now, if you ever get a whistle, then you can go backwards, because otherwise you can never go backwards. You can only go one way. But then if you reach a station and that station has a certain requirements, you need to have accumulated those goods on your way to that station by the time you reach it in order to be able to sell it. I don't know what happens if you don't have it. I think there's like a penalty of some sort. So you want to kind of send it, and you have multiple trains that you're going to be sending, and it doesn't matter which train collected it, the resource, but when you have a train that lands on the station, you want to be able to pay the station that's there. Now, some of them will allow you to do trades and different things like that. And then ultimately you want to kind of keep pushing your train and reach the west side, because this is like a map. Is it the map of the United States? I don't know if it's...
Oh, okay. Is it an actual map? Because again,
it's not like it's tiles. You have like the outside and it's tiles. Like, you have the east side, the west side, and there's like the middle row but the rest is tiles you're adding on.
Okay.
So you'll make your way through, and I don't know, in my mind I just assumed it was US, but I don't think it's any.
Well, I do see that bottom tile right in the middle does say USA on it. So it
then it probably is US based somewhat. Okay. Yeah. So, and then you move your way through. Then if you ever get your train all the way to the west coast, you kind of, depending on where it lands, you get to activate that final station you've reached, and then that train is out of the game, but then you get to activate kind of win, well, not win, but you get like to activate like a bonus.
Okay. Yeah.
And so first one there gets their pick of the crop, and then the next one would pick what's left and so on. But then you still have your trains, so you want to try to get all your trains in, and then you'll score your points and stuff. But it was just so interesting with having to move the one way, but you can't go backwards unless you get the whistles, and then you have to kind of acquire the whistles and the coal in order to be able to move your trains. And then so just planning on where you're going to go, which path you're going to take so that you can accumulate, and then where you're going to land so that you can activate those different abilities. It was super neat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems okay. I'm not a huge train theme fan. I mean, I like Ticket to Ride fine. It's good. I'm really enjoying the Legends of the West one, but I've never really played any other train games.
So you don't know if you're into it.
I might be a huge
You might
train
be a
buff.
huge train, maybe.
Who knows?
I'm going to get, for that train gig, get the train whistle and then, conductor
well, I want a conductor's
hats.
hat. If you give me a conductor's hat, I'll come. But we'll see. But yeah, no, it looks good. It looks good.
This one was super cool. It was just the whole puzzle aspect of it was so interesting.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's your number.
My number is 77, Whistle Stop.
Whistle Stop. Perfect. So now we're moving on to our number 76. So my number 76 is a solo game.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's technically a solo. I think you can play it multiplayer. Oh, yeah. You can play it 1 to 4.
Oh, okay. You've only played it solo?
I've only played it solo. I don't know why. I would be surprised if people played this multiplayer very often, because it's I think it's one of the quote unquote best solo games kind of all time, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe that's just my opinion. Now, I've had really good luck with it too. But this is Robinson Crusoe.
Oh,
Adventures of the Cursed Island. So this is a game that I'm pretty sure I'm playing wrong.
Why? Because you're doing so good?
I've won it 5 out of the 6 times I played.
Oh, you must be doing something
wrong. So I
wrong.
must be doing it wrong. Because I've heard that it's so hard. And it is tight the whole time. But there must be some little thing I'm doing wrong. But I've enjoyed it quite a bit. So, you know what I've always said, as long as you're enjoying the game, I guess it doesn't matter. So, but yeah, so Robinson Crusoe, basically you are a castaway and you're on the Cursed Island. And there's a bunch of different scenarios that you can play through. So the first one, you're just trying to be rescued. So you're trying to go out and explore through the forest. So you start out with a handful of tiles that you have access to. And then you've got a couple of discs that just represent your, how many actions you have for the day. So you have a board in front of you. You might decide to build a shelter to help you survive a little bit longer. Or you might decide to move out and explore on one of the tiles. So you can take your 2 action markers that you have and you can divide them up. And if you just divide them up to do 2 different actions, you don't really have the energy for that. So the game makes you roll these dice. And the dice are terrible dice. They're just not good dice at all. But so there's so many penalties if you get stuff wrong. But when you do get it right, you can potentially pull off 2 full moves in a turn.
Right.
And you can also get a pet dog, or Friday will come help you from I think it's obviously the Robinson Crusoe books. And that'll give you an extra marker to go. But, and there's weather, and it's just, I don't know, it's a great little experience. And every time you go to a new tile, it's going to give you an option to pull this little tiki thing, which might be a bonus. And then it'll add cards to the hunting deck. So if you decide to go hunting because you need food, you'll go to the spot where the hunting is and you'll choose, okay, I'm going to hunt. So you shuffle up all the little hunting cards that you found so far and you flip them over, and it could be something like a chicken or something well, not a chicken, but something very easy to fight. But it might be a tiger. So if you just randomly flip the tiger and you're not prepared to fight something big, you're in big trouble. So, and then it also has the option to craft stuff. So I might collect 3 wood and have access to this kind of land, and then you can build a spear.
Oh, okay.
And it's just it's such a good tight little game. Now I know I think it's this one right here, The First Martians. Is because
a reprint of it?
Well, yeah, it's not quite reskinning, but I don't know, for some reason it just, and I love Mars, the whole idea of Mars exploration I mean, it really, really intrigues me, but it just didn't bite me for some reason. Once I got it open and got it onto the table, I think it was just maybe a little too different.
And then the rule book sucks.
Oh, see, I don't read rule books.
Well, I did it with the rule book. You know, I had to watch Rodney Smith with the first Martian because that propelled us. But then when we'd have to look stuff up, it was really hard to find in the rule book. And then, yeah, it's a really unforgiving game, as in you can't try to fix everything. You got to pick what you're going to fix to just not lose.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if you win, you're going to win by the skin of your teeth. Like you're never going to kick the ever living crud out of a game. You're probably going to lose. Yeah. And like, again, like, I mean, I must have been playing something wrong, or maybe I just got really, really lucky.
Maybe I'll never win this again.
Yeah. Well, I won't, because I don't have it anymore. So
there you go.
So it's good. But have you played this one?
I have not played that one.
But
I played First Martian one time.
Oh, okay.
And then it was like, and it was so hard, and the rule book was so horrible. And then afterwards I was like, should we just sell this one? And then Lee's like, let's try it again, because he loves the Martian theme so much. Loves that theme, right? So I also have Mission Red Planet that we haven't played yet that I want to play. Oh, but we enjoyed all the.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that game.
No, I think it was on your list already.
Was it already?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, maybe. I don't remember what was on my list. So we'll see. If not, it might be later. But I mean, So this is Robinson Crusoe. My number is 76. If you're a solo player, I'm sure you've already played it. And if not, if you're a solo player, get it to the table, because it was such a good experience for me. So that's 76 Robinson Crusoe.
All right. My number 76. So I'm fairly new to the hobby. Like, I got into modern board games in 2017.
Okay.
So one thing that I like is discovering the older gems.
Sure.
So, like, yes, there's like the call to the new, like all the latest and greatest and everything off Kickstarter. And I avoid that a lot. The Kickstarter especially, like, I'm trying not to, but I like secondhand games more and the old classics. So I always try to accumulate or to get my hands on those ones. And this one is Pillars of the Earth.
Oh.
So I had heard good things about this one all the time. And I was like, okay, well, if I ever come across it, and then I did one day and I bought it. And I hadn't played it in a long time. Now, this one was published in 2006. So it's quite a bit older. Because, we're 2024 now. So, but it was so interesting. I played it for the first time. Well, and I don't remember when I bought it, but I played it for the first time just this last summer. And it's a worker placement game. But this board is just amazing because each location, it shows you what you do first. So they're numbered like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you do all of your location. And then each round, you're going to have like different things that's going to be available for the resources. There's so many rocks available from the quarry or woods from the forest. But it's kind of like first come, first serve.
So
acquire that. They're not always going to be the same.
Oh, okay.
And there's, I think, always one card that's not there. So be like, okay, I really need stones. Like, darn it, there's only one stone card. So, but it's worker placement as well, where you're placing your workers, and it's going to cost you, like, you have a money track that keeps track of how much money you have. Okay. So it's just so, it's like, okay, well, I really wanted to do that action as well, but there's not a lot of rocks there. So I better go and set myself to get my rocks first. And then, but there you can also go and trade some goods as well. So you do all the worker placement first. And then once everybody's kind of got there, but you draw out of the bag. So you don't know who's going first, or it depends on who comes out of the bag. And but the first one out of the bag, I think the action is more expensive to do as well. So if you don't have the money, be like, okay, set me aside for now. I'll have to do that later.
Oh, so you can pass.
You can pass, and then you come back at the end. But now the options are depleted quite a bit. But then it's not as expensive to do the action. And then the turn order, because it plays in however many rounds, but you keep track of that because each round you add a big block to this cathedral in the middle of the board. So at the end of the game, the cathedral is built, and you have all the big blocks that you could. So that whole thing was really interesting as well. But there's taxes to pay. There's bunch of different things.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was so cool. So we ended up playing it at Melcon as well, because I had played it a little bit before. Then we played it at Melcon, and it's one of those old classic game that is still so much value to it.
Sure. Now, did you ever read the book series?
I have not.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask, like, is it
How it compares to the books?
Thematically
no idea.
the same? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
We're
have
going to say it's
no
probably
idea.
sort of
Just
close.
like it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like
totally
they did get the okay from the author of the book to publish this book, to publish this game, and they have played it with him, and he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you guys can do this." So
nice. Well, that's always a positive.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, it looks okay. I mean,
it's a good looking game.
Yeah, I read about half of the first book, and
so you did
kind of lost interest in it, but I thought it was going to be a little more.
Is it about building a cathedral? Or?
Yeah. I think it's just about it seems thematically what it should be. So yeah, perfect. I just followed a stonemason for like 7 chapters, and then I kind of lost interest. But not enough dragons in it for me. But yeah, so that's your number.
That's my number 76. Pillars of the Earth.
Pillars of the Earth. Okay, well, my number 76.
No, you're on 75 now.
What? I'm on 75 now.
Yeah. You got a
good thing. I got
arrow ahead.
Buttons. There you go. I'll get this down.
He warned me because he's like, I want to sit on this side. I was like, well, then you got to run the computer.
Yeah.
He's like, oh.
Well, I'm deaf in this ear, so I don't want to get help. Yeah. But so my number 75 proves that I'm not really a dog person.
Oh.
Because I love cats. I'm sorry. So this is one that we picked up fairly recently, and I've only played it twice now. But I played it with my youngest son Eric, who gave me crap last time for not dropping his name. So there's your name, buddy. But anyways, what it is there's an island full of cats, and there's some evil dude. I can't remember what his name is, but he wants to come and murder all the cats. So your job is to save all the cats. So the little black ship there is showing how many rounds you have until the bad guy shows up. I can't remember what his name is, but it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't, yeah.
So you have 5 rounds to play, and it's going to be a draft. So in a draft, you're going to get dealt, I think it's 6 cards that you get, and you're going to pick 2, and you're going to pass, 7 cards that you get. You pick 2, pass it to the next person, pick up their cards, take 2 of those cards, take 2 of the next person's cards, and then you're left with the last card. And what you're doing is on the cards, they have a value that you have to spend fish to be able to keep that card in your hand. So if you want to keep a couple of cards of cats that you want to put out on the board, or maybe an action that's like a universal goal, you have to pay for that. And then when the draft's all done, you can spend your cards. And if you want to play a cat, you have to rescue them in a basket.
Right, yeah.
So some of the cards will have a single basket on them or a double basket. And the cards don't indicate what cats you're getting. They just have the baskets in them. So a single basket or a half a basket, or some of the other actions. And then what there is there's a collection of tiles out on the table which show all the cats that are available to rescue right now. And that repopulates every round. And what you do is you might have 20 fish to start. I can't remember what the number of fish is, but you need to have a basket to rescue a cat. You'll choose the cats that you want, and the cats are all polyomino tiles. And you pay the number of fish that you need to recruit that or to rescue that cat. And then you're going to put it on your ship. So you've got this ship, and the ship has a couple different rooms on it. Now you can cross walls in the rooms with the cats because it's just their territory that they're going to take over. And you get points based on like collections of cats. So the more red cats you can get together, the more points you can score at the end. And then you lose points if you don't cover all the rats.
Right.
So there's rats on the boat, so you got to cover a whole bunch of those. And any missing tiles you lose points for. So it's just kind of like a normal polyomino game, I think. Like I haven't played a lot of them, but you're just trying to cover as much of your board as efficiently as you can in the 5 turns. And just score points and save all the little kitties.
I played this once.
Okay.
And it took us well over 3 hours to play.
Oh.
for some reason, I don't know what was going on. And then plus, because each round you bring up different cat tiles that you're going to be able to take from. And then between round, you got to clean that up, bring out new tiles. And like the table was so cluttered. And it was like, oh, wait, well, was this one from this pile? Like it was just, it got so messed up. Like, so you need to be a little bit organized playing this game for sure. And it just got so cluttered and disorganized and dragged a little bit that I was like, ugh, okay, I don't need this one.
And you just hate cats? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm definitely more of a dog person than a cat person, I will say.
Yeah, I avoided it for such a long time. And then one of the people we know was posting it as for sale. And I figured, okay, I'm going to pick it up. I've been interested for quite a while and it was a good deal. And yeah, I mean, my son really enjoyed it. We played it again almost right away. We haven't got it back to the table yet, but
it's probably one that I need to try again. Because, I mean, it is interesting with the drafting and then having to have the fish to be able to keep those cards. But then you also need the fish to lure the cat into your basket as well. Yeah. And then trying to create the family clusters to get as high a score as you can. So they got to all connect and touch. Yeah. But then at the same time, cover the rats. And
the board. Yeah, like if you like polyomino games, I think... if you like drafting, you like polyominoes, as long as you don't hate cats, you're probably going to like it. And even if you hate cats, like, come on, you can...
Pretend they're something else.
Yeah. Pretend they're all ocelots.
Well, there you go.
Which are cats.
Oh, there you go.
Anyways, but that's my number 75, The Isle of Cats.
Nice. All right, my number 75 is a little card game, but it has a lot going for it. Now this one I've written down when it was published and I've got 2 years because it was published in 2004, but then they republished it in 2014. And this game is San Juan.
Oh.
And I had seen, we're back at you somehow.
Wow.
Like it must have gone backwards instead of forward.
Maybe. Sorry, I'm really learning here, guys.
There's San Juan. Oh, look at that. Also, Race for the Galaxy is basically San Juan. They're almost identical.
Oh,
One's Galaxy, and honestly, I own both. I like both. I will be keeping both. But San Juan is Puerto Rico, the card game. Because you have all the different things that you do in Puerto Rico, you'll be doing in San Juan. And it has the same thing where, okay, I'm going to be doing this action. I get to do all of this with this action. Everybody else can follow and do this portion of my action.
Okay, I like that.
Right? It is interesting. Yeah. So, and then sometimes I wanted to do that because I wanted to be able to get that extra ability. But this is definitely an engine builder as well because you're going to be adding these tiles and you're building your tableau with it. But then be like, okay, well, and they can work off of each other as well. And then this one's like, okay, now it gives you a discount every time you activate this. So then, okay, great, I can activate this and I have all of these that activates if I do that. So you're kind of definitely, and it's going to depend on the cards that comes up. So each time you play, you're going to be doing different things because the cards are going to do different things. And this is very much multi-use card games because the cards also your resources, your money, and then say, oh, okay, great. So it generates this much and you just tuck that many cards underneath to show that you have that much there. I really, really like this one. It was just so interesting to play the actions, like everything I like about Puerto Rico. This is just like the pure version of it, right? So with just the card version.
Okay.
It was so good. It was so good. I mean, it's another beige looking game. I'm assuming the one they did in 2014 looks better than the one they did in 2004. I don't know. Roll for the Galaxy or Race for the Galaxy, if you prefer that, definitely, as I mentioned, plays the exact same. One thing I hear a lot about Race for the Galaxy is that it's very complicated.
That's what I've heard.
But I didn't find it was so bad. Plus, you have your little player aid that gives you all the things. It's just not everything is written down. It's like, okay, so this does that. And then you look at, okay, so that's what that does. Like, I didn't find it to be so hard to follow like I have been hearing that it is. Okay. But if you've played San Juan, Race for the Galaxy plays the same way. If you played Roll for the Galaxy, you're already familiar with the icons. So
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I haven't played any of those 4.
you need to.
So it's another like I have lots of gaps in my board game.
So you need to play
knowledge.
Puerto Rico, San Juan, Race for the Galaxy, and Roll for the
Well,
Galaxy.
let's pick one, and we'll start there. So we'll pick the easiest one. So,
Sounds good.
but yeah, so yeah, I don't even know what to say. Like, I mean, I've heard so much good stuff. The complexity that I've heard about Race for the Galaxy has kind of scared me away from it a little bit because, again, like I don't read rule books. I have to watch videos to learn games because that's just the way I learn, I guess. And
I think that's what I'll do. Like I'll watch the video, play the game, have the rule book for clarifications.
For sure.
Yeah.
I really appreciate those people who teach the games.
Yes.
Like,
thank you.
yeah, they save people like me because I'm not making it through a rule book. So, but that's your number.
That's my number 75, San Juan.
San Juan. Wow. Okay, well, I'm going to advance us to the next number. So this is my number 74. This is a very sentimental game to me.
Oh, okay.
So, and most of you have never heard of it.
Okay.
And that breaks my heart. So there's an author named Brandon Sanderson. A lot of you might know him because he finished the Wheel of Time series for Robert Jordan when Robert Jordan passed.
Yes.
So he has a handful of other series, the Mistborn series. But my family we like superheroes. And we kind of like superheroes who are jerks. So like now that my kids are getting older and stuff, some of those like The Boys, we haven't watched The Boys with the kids, but they'll love it when they get older. But this falls into that kind of Boys, the board game almost to me. So Brandon Sanderson did a series called The Reckoners.
Oh, okay.
So he did 3 books, Steelheart, and a couple others. I can't remember the names offhand. But it's about this group of people who are trying to stop all of the, I think they're called epics or something like that. Yeah, epics. Because all the superheroes got powers, and with power comes corruption.
Oh,
So
I was going to say, comes great responsibility.
No. Comes great
Corruption.
Okay. So all the superheroes in the world are jerks.
Okay.
And they're dominating the population. So you're playing this group of just plain vanilla, let's save the world kind of people. And what it is, it's a co-op game. And the ultimate goal is to beat Steelheart, who's basically Superman.
Okay, yeah.
So you've got Superman, who kind of is the boss of everybody, and then you've got all these other little mini bosses. So you've got a board in the middle, or not a board, but the locations. You've got several locations in the middle, and as a team, you have to spend your actions and move around the board. And it's really neat because almost all of the epics are invincible.
Okay.
You can't hurt them, but if you can figure out and research their weaknesses, you can finish them off. So there's this neat option where you can fight. So you might fight some peons who are running around the city who are just the minions of the mini bosses. And if you kill a certain number of them, you can clear things away, because it's one of the ways you can lose so many ways in this game.
Okay.
Just like any of those other solo games where there's like 9 ways to lose and only 1 to win. But what you're doing is you're researching all of these individual epics and knocking down or adding to their research value. So once an epic might have a research value of 4, so you have to research 4 times to be able to unlock him, to be able to fight him.
Okay.
So once you have them unlocked, you can fight them, and sometimes you can just research a whole bunch and kill them off. Like, it's not always combat, but most of them are combat based. And then to even have a shot at fighting the main bad guy, you have to defeat a certain number of these henchmen superheroes. But yeah, it plays very similar to a lot of the other big group co-op games.
It kind of reminds me of Marvel United, the way you're describing it a bit.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it's not unlike Marvel United for sure. Like it's probably very similar.
Okay.
Now that I think about it a little bit more, which is funny because Marvel United is not on my list. Spoilers. And like my best buddy is not happy with me about that. But yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, And maybe it's not an amazing game. Like I quite enjoyed it. I think it's a solid game. I've played it solo a bunch. I've played it with the family a bunch.
It looks really good.
Oh, it's beautiful. Like it's one of those games that was kickstarted at a very high level, and it was popular enough to get an expansion. They made an expansion that followed the third book, I think it was, because just the way the books work, without spoilers, the second book doesn't matter all that much. But
just skip it.
but yeah, like all the boards are like game trays type of things, and it's just very slick, and you can get like metal cubes, and it's just
Neat.
I don't know. It's a very tactile, pleasing game. And just because my whole family read this whole series, I think all of us but one read the series.
So then it has that.
Yeah, like everybody's like,
nostalgia.
oh, it's that person. I remember that person. They're awful.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, so I mean, if you like co-ops and if you're a fan of Brandon Sanderson at all, give it a shot. Even just pick up his books and give it a shot. But yeah, I mean, it is YA, the novels and stuff like that. But this game is. It's good. It's one of my very favorite co-op games, and I think it's a solid game, and it's great for the family. So this is my number 74, The Reckoners.
Nice. Yeah, that definitely has. It looks like it has great table presence.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're on number. That was number 74. My number 74 is a tiny game.
Is it epic?
No, it's not epic.
Okay.
It's lackluster, I guess.
Aww.
And this is one that it was at FallCon. They had a bunch of games that they were getting rid of from the library, and they're just like, here, grab what you want. And then I grabbed a couple. And then some of the ones I grabbed with the intention of giving to the Disbury Museum because they were starting to do a game day.
Oh, nice.
And then the Disbury Museum has like a whole train section, so I had grabbed a couple of train ones as well. And I grabbed this one, and I was thinking of donating it. And then me and my friend Lyle were at the first game event, and we set it up, and we opened it, and then we looked at the little cucumber bits because this game is 5 cucumber.
Oh.
And then we didn't even play the game. We didn't even read the rules yet. We're just looking at the cucumber bits. So if you want to go and show like that.
Yeah.
Like it comes with the little wooden cucumbers, and then Lyle's looking at me and he's whispering, "Take this one back." And I was like, "I will." So, and it is so satisfying. This game, like I played it lots at 2 players and I love it. And you can play, what is this one? You can play up to 6 players, and I love it. It's a Friedman Freeze game, but it plays in 7 rounds. It's a trick-taking game, and it plays in 7 rounds. And so first player will put a card down, then you got to play equal or highest than what they've played. And if you can't, then you must play your lowest card. You have no choice. You got to get rid of your lowest card. Yeah. And then you do this until the 7th round. In the 7th round, you'll kind of take turn placing the card down. Whoever has the highest card wins that trick, which is not good because you don't want to win the last trick. You're hoping to have the lowest card. So that's why you don't want to get rid of all of your low cards, ideally in the first 6 rounds. So whoever loses or wins the last trick, how many cucumbers is on their card. So maybe I have a 14 and there's 5 cucumbers, or there's 4 cucumbers on the card itself. Yeah. Then I have to take that many cucumber bits and I add it in front of me. If you reach 5 cucumber bits, you're eliminated from the game. Now, if you manage to hold on to a 1 card at the very end and you add it to the final trick, then that doubles the amount of cucumbers the person has to take, whoever wins that trick. Yeah. So it is a very simple game, but it is so neat. It is so satisfying. I just love it. Now, it is a player elimination game, which sometimes can suck. I played this with my son and his friend because it was his birthday last weekend. It was Patrick's birthday, and he had his friend Harley come over and sleep over. And then I made them help me carry the bags to the Acme game group or game day. So I was like, well, let's play this while we're waiting for it. So we played it, and Harley got eliminated first hand because there was a +1, 2, like a ×2. Patrick had managed to keep a 1, and he ended up picking 6 cucumbers, so he was eliminated. And then me and Patrick are like slowly, so poor Harley's kind of like toodaloo until the end. So there is that to it, but the rounds are so quick that you're never really sitting for very, very long.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I got Richard taught it to us. I think it was
Oh,
Richard
okay,
who
yeah.
taught it to
Yeah,
us.
yes, because I showed it to him.
Yeah.
And then he went and got his own
So I
copy.
thought it was his, maybe, or so maybe it was his copy, and I've been looking for a copy and I can't find one. But yeah, it was so much fun. Like it was dumb.
It's simple, quick game. Yeah,
and it's great when you can be like, you know what? Here's my double card. You're in big trouble now. But it's so simple, but so fun. Like it was
so fun.
really, really fun. And so I know Harley had a bad experience with the player elimination.
Well, I don't think he disliked it anyways, but he's like, well.
Yeah, when you lose out of a game quick, that sucks. But I mean, with us, we were playing the full count, I think. I think there were 6 of us. And there was people got eliminated seemingly fast, but everybody was raucously mocking the other people who were about to get eliminated. So it really works so well. Like that's a really, really good choice.
Yeah, I like it.
Definitely deserves to be on the list. So
perfect. My number 74 is 5 cucumbers.
5 cucumbers. Perfect. Okay, so my number 73 is another game that I played primarily with my family. This one we were able to play a fair amount with.
More than 2 times?
More than 2 times.
Oh.
Like maybe even 3 times.
Oh!
But this one just, I don't know, the first time I ever played it, it just really captured my imagination. So it's a game called Bargain Quest.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you've played Bargain Quest.
I have not played this one.
So Bargain Quest is, again, it's a dungeon crawl adjacent game.
Okay.
So there's these heroes who want to go into the dungeons and go on quests, and you're the shopkeepers.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you're going to supply them with the stuff that they need to win.
You need this weapons, you need this potion.
You might just want to get as much money out of them as you can, too. So, but the neatest thing about this game is when you first start out, you have these boards. It's a tri-fold board, or they fold over top. And unfortunately, it's not pictured, but no, it's okay. It's okay. But it's a board that basically shows the front of a shop. Okay. So, and they all have kind of like there might be like an ancient Asian kind of theme, or a Middle Eastern theme, or like a whatever. And then you choose your board based on just the front of it, and you open it up, and you get to open your little shop.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was just great. So, and then it just lays flat. Like, it's not some big 3D thing. It's just, but I don't know. But
it's satisfying.
Yeah, it's so satisfying. Like, this is my shop. I chose this shop. This is the one. Yeah, and you get to open it up and see what it is. So, but what's going to happen is there's going to be a couple of adventurers. I think it's 1 per player. Okay. Who show up in town. And they have a certain amount of money in front of them that they're willing to spend. And what you're doing is you own your little shop. You're going to get, I think it's a draft. Yeah, you draft them. So just like any other draft, you keep a card, pass them on, keep a card, pass them on. Okay. And you're going to kind of look at the guys who are coming and what they want. So the warrior might want all warrior kind of weapons, whereas the wizard might want wizard kind of items. Right. So what you're going to do is you're going to draft these items in your hand. And then you're going to take one of the items when you're done, and you're going to put it in the front of your shop. It's in the window. It's not for sale, but it's going to lure people into your shop. Okay. So what's going to happen is once you all have your items in front of the window, whoever has the highest numbered item, I think, gets to choose which person they want to lure. So you might want to lure the guy who has the most money. Right. Because you might have this vain, arrogant, rich person who wants to go into the dungeons, but they suck. But they have lots of money, so I can sell them all my stuff. Okay, yeah. Or at least anything that's associated with, like, they have icons on them saying what kind of a fighter they are and what you can sell them. So you're going to lure the person in, and you're going to sell them as much of your stuff as you can. It's okay if you sell them garbage that's really expensive, because you know what, you've gotten their money already, and it's all about collecting money because you're the shop owner now. So you don't really care how they do win. Well, you do, because if they do win, you get like a bonus point. Oh, because it's thanks to the stuff you've got. Yeah, because I give them the stuff, so I score a couple extra points or something like that, and then they'll come back into the thing. And you can kind of keep feeding them. And I think any of the ones that don't, I don't know, there's some way that they get points added to them just to make them more valuable to pull. But yeah, and then everybody sends a person out, and you just score based on how they do and how much money you got. And at the end of the game, you add up your money, you just change it into points, like 2 points per gold or whatever it is.
Neat.
And yeah, it's just a fun little game, and it's, I don't know, and it's neat because when they're about to go into the dungeon, you flip an additional card over.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be, you have a wizard, but it's a brave wizard. So the brave wizard gets an extra point for fighting or something like that. So they might have just lost, but you got lucky and flip this card. Or they could be the cowardly. So you flip it over and they're a -2 to something.
Geez.
And then, like I thought he was going to make it through, but so there's a little bit of, not press your luck, but a little bit of randomness thrown in there. So even though you think like, oh yeah, I got this guy loaded up with exactly what he needs, he's going to crush the creature in the dungeon. And because I flipped this card. So there's a little bit of that randomness to it, but yeah, it's just really fun. Like, and who doesn't want to own a medieval shop, right?
I think I do now.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
so I
Well,
can
even just opening the doors.
open.
Yeah, opening the doors to your shop. Best part of the game. No, there's lots of good parts.
And with the randomness thing, I like a little bit of that in games because I find it's like the equalizer between the different skills. Mostly if you're playing with kids or new players. And
for sure.
It's not fun when you have different skills and then you have one person that crushes everybody every time.
Yeah. Well, and if you know that it's in the game, like you know that there's a chance you're going to lose 1 or 2 points of the attack value. So you got to make sure you feed him a little bit extra just so he's got a little, like, give him an extra helmet buffer or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's really good. So that's my number 73 bargain quest.
Nice. That does sound interesting.
So, and they did, if you like any of the online role-playing game stuff, like Acquisitions Incorporated, or there's a whole bunch of different little, like they were podcast series of all these like live play Dungeons and Dragons. There's so many like 8-Bit Theater little bonus packs you can add in just to add a little bit of flavor from your favorite.
Oh, that's cool.
Thing. Yeah, there's like 6 of them I think that you can add in, but
that's cool.
Yeah, it was really good.
It sounds a little bit like a more involved version of Welcome to the Jungle. Dungeon, not jungle.
Yeah, I suppose. Like, I mean,
like theme-wise, I guess only theme-wise. Not having played it, I was like, okay, like that kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Whereas in Welcome to the Dungeon, you're trying to get everybody else to fail. This one, you're trying to get your person to succeed, and you can't really affect the other person's guy, except from stealing them before they get them. Yeah.
Get them in your shop first.
But good little game. My number 73.
My number 73 is one that I purchased on theme because of when I was working with Legacy at the time, so training across the North America, and that's Stockpile. So I wanted to have some stock games and different stock games, and Stockpile is great. First of all, just the character. So you can play as a different character, and each character has different abilities. So if you're playing as, and they're all, I don't think they're like following the IP. You can tell it's Warren Buffett, but it's not Warren Buffett.
Sure.
But he has a lot of money. And then you'll have, what's her name? Martha Stewart.
Oh, okay.
She went to jail for inside trading, so she gets extra inside trading information.
There you go.
Right. And you have Donald Trump in there, and you have like different characters like that. They'll have like a little bit of different information. And if you flip out to the next one here with the board, because you'll have the different stocks. Now the board is double-sided. Either the stocks are all the same, or some of the stocks are different where they move forward slower, they move forward faster, or they split more often, or they pay off dividend more often, and different things like that. This is on the varied side on that board there, but you have the different stocks. And each round, you're going to have public information that comes up. There's 2 public information that's, so you know that, this particular stock is going to drop a bit.
Sure.
So, and then there's private information that we each have. Like, oh, okay, so I know this. Nobody else knows this. Martha Stewart knows too, right? So, and you have that information that you get as well that you can kind of decide. Because then before you start, you'll have different things that will manipulate. Well, because these cards are going to manipulate the movement of the stocks. They're going to go up. They're going to go down. Are they going to pay off dividend and different things like that. So, and you have different stocks that you're going to own, and you have to decide what you're going to hold on to, what you're going to sell, if you're going to sell. Well, if I know that this one's about to drop 3, I'm going to sell it now. And then be like, but sometimes they're like, okay, I'm going to sell this one. I know that it's just doing this, but so, and then people see, like, oh, Melanie just sold that. Okay, what does she know? Maybe I should sell it too. Then you can kind of try to buff a little bit.
And then everybody throws them all in,
Yeah. And then you also have these different cards that you'll have that you add on to, like the bottom has like it's calculators, and you add cards to those. And then one will be face up, one will be face down. And some will be stocks, or some will be, kind of different things like that, where you can move a stock or the ability to do something. But so it's incomplete information because you don't know what's face down unless you put it down, and you have to remember what you put down. But you can see what's face up, and everybody can see that. So be like, oh, that one's face up, and we know it's going up 2 spots. So that's worthwhile. Maybe I'm going to bid on that. But then the face down one is trading fees. And it's a lot of trading fees or different things like that, right? But then you have to bid on the stack you're going to take, because there's going to be 1 stack for each person. So I'm going to take my one, and I'll be like, okay, well, I'm going to bid 1. So then I'm winning this bid now. So the next person can bid, and they could bid on a different pile, or they could go and bid on mine. So, well, I'm going to go to the next one, which is 3. So now that they've outbid me, so I have to take my worker back and bid somewhere else.
Sure.
And you're going to keep doing that until everybody has their own stack. And they could be like, fine, I'll go with that one that has the trading fees for 0, but at least I'm not paying for it.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'll grab that, and turns out the rest of the stuff was good. And, so you just don't know. And then you end up with stocks that way, and you can manipulate, and then you go and move the market based on the information that everybody got. So at the end of the game, you play so many rounds. At the end of the game, it's whoever has the most money wins.
Sure.
But if the stock ever reaches the end and it's go all the way up, then the stock split. So you move your stockpile from the regular stock to the split pile. So these all worth 2. And, so it is so neat. It's very interesting. If you're enjoying the stock market, especially if you enjoy trading games, this one is great for that. It's not a deep or like a dry stock trading game.
Sure.
Right? Like it's whimsical, it's fun. But it is a stock game in its pureness of it. And then the bidding thing is very much like what is that? Egyptian theme game.
Like Ra or something like that? Or?
Not Ra, not Imhotep.
Amun-Re.
The bidding is very much like it is in Amun-Re.
Okay.
Because that's how the bidding mechanism is in that game as well. But it is so neat. Very fun game. And that's Stockpile, my number 73.
Yeah, I've wanted to. I don't know that I've ever actually played a stock market kind of game. I'm really intrigued by them. I like deals and stuff like that. So I mean,
you might, that might be up. Yeah.
So I really should give it a try. Like it's definitely one that every time I see it, I think, oh, this is probably something I would like.
Yeah.
I've never purchased it because nobody in my house would play it with me for sure. but yeah, maybe I'll play your copy sometime.
Yeah, you should. It's a good one.
Oh, well, that's number 73. So, okay. So now we're going on to number 72.
Yes.
My 72 is based on very popular video game IP.
Okay.
So maybe not to my generation, but my children's generation.
Okay.
Would very much know this. It's based on a game called League of Legends.
Oh, okay.
So do you know what League of Legends is? Because
I don't think
really,
I do.
But that's okay.
Right.
So this is a game that has insane production value. And it's called Mechs versus Minions.
Nice.
So it's this huge, giant coffin-sized box.
Oh, geez.
Full of miniatures. And what it is, it's an action programming draft kind of game. So what you're going to have is you have a little template in front of you, with 5 or 6 slots in it. It's your command line.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what you're going to do is we're going to draft a certain number of cards, and it's not a lot. So, at the beginning of the game, you're going to set up your board. You're going to have some kind of goal that you have to complete. So, you're playing these big dudes in the mechs, which I love mechs because, I mean, I'm a child of the 70s, and mechs were amazing. But yeah, so what you're going to do is you're going to draft these cards, and then you're going to play them into your command line. So you might have an action that lets you move 2 spaces, or it might let you shoot a fireball, or it might let you heal, or something like that. So the first couple rounds, you only have like 1 or 2 cards, so you don't get to do very much.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a goal that you're trying to complete, so you got to destroy a certain number of minions, or drag a big bomb to a spot to disarm it, or something. But as the game goes along, you add cards to this action line, or to the command line, and you might add the same type of card. Like you might add a movement card on top of another movement card, so it increases the level of that card. So you might get to do more with it. It might let you move 3 spaces, or it might let you move 3 spaces and throw a punch or something like that.
Okay.
So it's very much just a programming game. You're just trying to get through the scenario, getting everything to happen. And I think it's like some of those games like a Robo Rally.
Right, yeah.
Where you might have a perfect plan set up and then stuff just goes the wrong way because you didn't quite have it. But it's not as sporadic as that. Like there's definitely a little bit more control. And I don't know, it's beautiful. My kids played it with me.
Nice.
And they loved it. So,
Nice.
And it's scenario based. So there's a whole bunch of
nice.
hidden envelopes and stuff like that you can open up once you get to a certain level, and add new cards and new powers. And,
So is it scenario or campaign?
It's campaign.
Okay, so it's campaign, yeah.
But I think once you went through the whole campaign, you could just choose any package.
Yeah, and
or
then kind of do
just
the scenario one.
slam it all together and play it. Like I don't think it would matter.
Okay.
And it's got like hidden boxes with, like there's one gigantic hidden box just sitting right there, and you don't know what it is until you get right to the end of the game. Like so overproduced. But yeah, it's just a fun. I haven't played a lot of programming games, but yeah, it's cute and it's a co-op and
Nice.
yeah,
It does look good.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I've played Robo Rally finally. I've owned it for years, but I've played it finally at that tabletop game weekend day. And then it was interesting. It was cool. I have Tiny Epic Mechs. Have you played that one yet?
Oh, I've owned it a couple times.
Well, that's the thing. I haven't played my copy yet, which is another programming game. So programming game wise, Robo Rally is it now that I've played like a couple of months ago. But I did enjoy it. So
so I feel like we need to have a Tiny Epic Game Day soon.
We've talked about Tiny Epic Game Day for how long?
I don't know.
Oh, we should make a theme and have like tiny little itty bitty things.
Like little finger sandwiches?
Little tiny finger sandwiches.
But they have to be epic. They have to be epic sandwiches. What makes an epic sandwich? Put it in the comments. Because I don't know. But anyways, that's my number 72. It is neither tiny. Well, no, it's pretty epic, but it's not tiny at all.
Right.
That's Mechs versus Minions, my number 72.
Nice. My number 72 is another older game. And I remember like I had bought that one when I first got into the hobby, and I played it with my brother, and I was like, I think this is going to be really good. And we got playing a couple rounds into it, and I was like, I'm going to love this game. And then my brother was like, I'm reserving judgment till the end.
Oh, there you go.
And this is Alhambra.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and this one is so interesting. So it's a tile laying game. Like you have your starting, and then you're kind of building a village square, I guess. I think that's what Alhambra is.
Sure.
But what's really interesting with it is there's 4 different builders you're going to be purchasing from. But each builder comes from a different region, and they want to be paid in their own currency.
Okay.
So you need to collect the currencies, and then you're going to have to collect the different currencies to be able to pay the builder in their own currency for the ones that you want. So and on your turn, you'll be kind of picking up currencies, and then you get to buy, like, I think it's one or the other. But if you're able to pay, because you can't make change either.
Oh, okay.
Right? So if you pay the exact price that they're asking for, then you get a bonus for that. And then you're creating your thing. Now you're trying to create, like have, like the white tiles and the brown tiles and put all of that into your things. And in, like, you have the cards that flips over, and in there, there'll be 2 scoring cards that will randomly show up at some point. And when they show up, say, okay, so we score. Who has the most white? And then they score that thing for that first round. And then who has the most pink? And then they get to score that. And then you do that. So then you keep going again. You also score your longest wall. Okay. So, and like the tile placement, like you have to, the way that you create your tiles, like you can't have something that's not connected into your village square and separated completely out by the wall and stuff. Sure. So you got to consider that in your tile placement as well. And then you'll have another scoring tile that'll come up, and then you'll score a second time. And then, so you're trying to build up on what you have. And then at the end of the game, you score a final time as well. But it is just so neat. And then if you want to show the game
Sorry. I was just so enthralled.
So enthralled, right? So you have that, like you build all this little village square, and then you have the different tiles and the different income that you can draw from. It's just a very neat, interesting game to play. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, a couple of rounds in, I was like, okay, I can tell I'm going to love this one. Oh. And I've loved it ever since.
And did your brother end up liking it? Or?
My brother's funny. He will like a game if he liked it, and if BGG gives it a good score.
Oh, so if it doesn't have a good score, he didn't like it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
and I think Alhambra is a decent score, anyways. But
okay.
I don't know, but I was like, oh my god, this game was so good, and he's like, it's only 5.8 on BGG. Like you shouldn't be liking this. I was like, no, but I'm telling you, I really liked it. He's like, but you shouldn't have. Like it only ranks this high. You shouldn't. It's like, but it's funny. But yeah, no, this one, I really enjoyed it. It does have an older look to it.
Sure.
Just because it's from, 2003. So it is an older game.
Yeah.
It plays up to 6 players, which is something I like as well. Like if we ever have the whole family, which we don't now, not everybody lives with us now. Some of my boys are older and moved out, but, in my dream, if we ever get the whole family to play, this is one that we could bring to the table.
Sure. So this is one that they made an app for it on the App Store, and I downloaded it, I don't know, probably 7 years ago or something like that. And I tried it 3 or 4 times, and it just something about it. And my brother was a very big fan of this game. Like, this is one of his, like, oh, you should play this. So I tried it, and I don't know if it's just the theme or maybe I didn't.
Not everything converts well into apps either.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like I've never played a physical version of it, and I do like tactile stuff where you're touching the tiles, and I like having a handful of cards. So I haven't played a lot of online games, and there's only a handful. I have one like way higher on my list that I played mostly on an app. But I mean, aside from that, like I don't know, I should give it an honest chance.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's so good.
But as of right now, it's not even on my radar. And I'm a little bit like your brother. Like I have a smaller collection. Like I have probably a quarter of what you do, maybe. And so I kind of have like a snobby little rule of if it's not a 7 or higher, I'm probably just not going to have it.
And I don't know what it scores, honestly, but yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, if you like the game, you like the game. Like I have games, like I love Hero Quest from way back in the day. It didn't make my list, but I mean, I probably rated like a 2. But because it's not a good game, but it's so much fun. So, but yeah.
So that was my number 72, Alhambra.
Alhambra, nice. Okay, so
now the last one for this segment.
Is the last one? This is so sad. I
know.
Okay, my number 71 is not a sad game at all. This is probably the second game, maybe third, that we really started playing. We got introduced to it before we were really board gamers at all.
Okay.
And it was the first time I ever got to see a meeple.
Oh, okay.
And I like me a meeple. So this is a tile placement meeple game.
Okay.
Called Carcassonne.
Of course.
Of course it's Carcassonne.
Carcassonne was the first one that had meeples?
I don't know. It's the first one I ever saw with meeples.
Mhm.
I would not be totally shocked if it was the first game with meeples, because I mean this game's a 2000 game, so like it was a long time ago. Now I know there's lots of like German worker placement games, so one of them
Right.
probably had meeples in them
Maybe.
at some point in
Yeah.
time. But I should look it up and find out where the very
Meeple
first
history?
Meeple game was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Meeple history. I'm sure that's a big thing. Meeple Wikipedia or something.
I'm
like
sure
that.
it's
Everything
there.
will be right. But yeah, so in Carcassonne, you have a bag of tiles,
Mhm.
and you're going to draw a tile out of the bag, and then you're going to place it on the board.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's going to be a starting tile or the starting river, depending on if you play with the river expansion. And you have to place the tile so that it makes sense. So if you have your tile's probably going to have a road and some grassland and a little piece of city. So what you're going to do is you're going to place that tile, and then you have the option of placing one of your 8 meeples, because you only get 8 meeples, I think it is.
Mhm.
Basically throughout the whole game. There's a couple of ways you can get meeple back, but most of the time that you won't get them back. So what you're going to do is you have to put it on your tile that you just placed, if you want, in one of the either field, road, city, or I think there's like
Monastery?
monasteries. That's
Right.
what they're called. And then there's a few expansions that probably have other crazy
Right.
things.
There's a
But-
lot of expansions
Yeah.
available.
So and there's like different workers and stuff like that too. Like there's so much to it. But basically, if you put it in the city, you're going to score points based on how many tiles are in the city if it's completed. So if the walls go all the way around. The farmland, you're going to put your meeple laying down just to indicate that he's in the field. And then at the end of the game, so that meeple will never come back until the end of the game. So you have to be
Mhm.
careful you don't take too many
Yeah.
fields. And it scores like 3 points per city that's finished, that's in its field or touching its field. And then the roads will score based on the
How many
length of the road.
tiles,
It's like
yeah.
1 point per road tile. And as soon as a road or a city are closed, like they're finished,
Intersection, yeah.
then you get to take your meeple back. And you just score points based on however many things that was in it. But the thing that really, really intrigued me about this game is you can't aggressively place anything. So if you have a meeple in your city and I attach my city to yours, I can't put a meeple in it.
No, it's already, yeah.
But I can put my tile just off-centered to yours, so they're not quite touching,
It's not
and
part
then
of your city
put my
yet.
meeple in there.
Yeah.
And you've got one grande meeple. I don't know if it's called a grande meeple in this game, but you've got one big meeple that's worth like 2 points.
That's
So-
part of an expansion, though.
Oh,
right?
is
Yeah.
it? Oh, okay. We just
Yeah.
have the big box. So,
Yeah, nice.
but so you can like sneak in and like edge in on somebody's city so that when it actually gets closed off, you both have control of it, or you may have stolen control of it. So it's got that passive aggressive kind of, hey, what are you doing putting a city so close to mine and throwing a meeple in it? Like, I don't know. It's great. And it plays fairly quickly. You can
Yeah.
play it, I think it's 2 to 5 or something like that. But we play it with 6 just because
You're 6.
we have 6 and we just grab an extra little marker or something like that instead of meeple. And
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it probably doesn't play perfectly that way, but we like it that way. So, but yeah, and it's one of those classic games that was one of the first kind of hobby games that I think were in North America, and like with the Ticket to Ride Catans, like it's one that you need to have in your collection. If you don't have it in your collection,
Yeah.
I think you're missing out. Even though you might not play it a lot, it's great to pull out, and it's fairly easy to explain, so grandma can play it. Or,
Yeah. And it's cool too how it starts when you have nothing and then you just slowly add on to it and watch it grow.
yeah.
And then sometimes like, okay, we need shift.
Yeah. You might have to shift the whole table. Yeah, you gotta be careful with that, and especially when you add a whole bunch of expansions onto it,
Yes.
it just adds more tiles. And
And most of the time, they kind of recommend you pick an expansion to play with. But
Yeah.
you know, my friend Bree and Dan, they'll often have like, let's play Catan with everything.
oh, okay.
And they'll post pictures of it. This board is massive. All the tiles they have in there. I don't know how long it takes them to play hours.
Oh, maybe,
with all of them.
But it does play pretty quickly, regardless.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, yeah, it's quick play, but yeah.
And I mean, they've done so much with Catan. Like, there's a space themed Catan. There's
Carcassonne.
Oh, Carcassonne. Sorry.
Wrong game.
There's like space themed stuff. There's
Oh, really?
yeah, and we played one that was like a mining version, so you're mining gold and stuff like that. And I think they're even coming out with like There's one that was like a soccer theme or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, just fairly recently released in the last few months. I don't know all the details or anything like that, but maybe you're building a pitch or something like that. And
That's cool.
populate. I don't know how it all works, but yeah,
Nice.
it's a great little game. Like Carcassonne's a staple. So,
Yeah, oh, it is,
So,
honestly. I remember I had this game in my collection for quite a while before I was into the hobby, and I hadn't
Sure.
played it. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, and then I played, and then I was like, after my first modern game, I was like, okay, I want to play games. And I went through my closet, pulled all the games out, and played this one. I was like, oh, this one was good. We should have opened it sooner.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and it's a game that you'll see in like libraries will have a copy.
Yes.
My mother-in-law's old folks home has one.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know if it ever gets touched, but it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, you find it everywhere. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I see them all over the place.
It's been around for a while. So
It has, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, Carcassonne's my number 71.
Right.
Definitely worth owning.
Yes. Oh, yes. All right. My number 71 is a crossover.
What?
Not from this list. It was in the previous list. I don't know if it was where it landed on your top 100 so far, but it's Distilled.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So this one I played the first time. It's Carla had it, so I played her copy. I think it's Carla, unless it was Cherry's copy. It was somebody's copy. It wasn't mine.
Carla,
I
she's
don't
selling
own it.
So.
Oh, okay. So, and this is one where you're acquiring different ingredients, and so it's kind of a worker placement, because you got to get the cask, you got to get the bottles, you got to get the ingredients, and then it's kind of bag building, because you put it into the bag, and then you got to pull the ingredients out, hoping that the ingredients you needed came out to do the spirit you were hoping to make.
Yeah,
and if not, based on what came out is what you're going to end up having to make. Because you can always make, I think, is moonshine.
Yeah, moonshine's something you can always make, and there's a couple like lower spirits.
Yeah, so some that are easier to make, but then you get like the, like the fancy stuff that you want to, and then you can get like fancy barrels where it's like smoked and then add like different flavors to it. And so there's lots going on with it. Now, I suspect, because I think I came in second place last time I played it.
Okay.
But I suspect that I was doing maybe something wrong.
Mm.
I can't remember if it was the bottle or the cask, and I was just reusing it, but I think it was supposed to be disposed.
Yeah. Well, because once you complete a spirit, that bottle becomes like a set collection kind of scoring at the end. So you can put it in, like you just set it off to the side of your board just to say, hey, this is our bottle. This is the slow bottle.
And I think maybe that's what I was. I can't remember if I was doing that, because it seemed to me at the end I was like, I just kept using the same one. And then maybe I wasn't supposed to. So then it was easier because I wasn't paying to getting that. I don't know if it was a bottle of the cask. Can you reuse the same cask?
I don't think so. I think it's all like a one-time use thing.
Okay. So I think I was okay with the bottle, but the cask, I'm pretty sure I kept using it again and again. Nobody noticed and corrected me. So I was in second place. I was like, wow, how did I manage that?
It's so good.
Yay me. All my alcohol tasted the same because it all came from the same.
Yeah, so it was all moonshine, but that's okay.
It all depends on what you put on the label.
Yeah, I quite like it. It's a silly little bonus, but they came with coasters for each of the spirits that you can make.
Neat.
And I don't know, it touched me a little bit because our family's Danish heritage.
Yeah.
So they do, like, for Christmas Eve, that's their big Christmas. They do this, it's a Danish buffet. So it's just dish after dish after dish after dish for like 3 hours of food.
Oh, nice.
But you got to digest that food somehow. So they have this stuff called akavit, which is just like boat oil, basically. Yeah, like it's awful. It's all boat gas, I think is what we called it. But it's a 2-board boat. And you just have a shot of it in between every meal. And I think it's just because there's a lot of fish, and fish is gross. So you got to drink a whole bunch so you don't notice you're eating fish. But yeah, so as soon as there was a little coaster that said Tuborg on it, I'm like, I need that one. Give me that one. Okay, let's play this game. I want to do it. So yeah, it's a great little game. Well, not little game. It's a big game.
Yeah, there's a lot to it for sure.
Yeah.
The one drawback I had with it is like keeping score. The wooden icon that you kept score with, the score table was very small.
Yeah.
So if you were on the same one, be like, it's like, so it was a little tight just that way, but which is nothing. Really, if
No,
you
but
consider-
when you like, I mean, it was a very, very overproduced game.
Yes.
I felt like.
And was that deluxe though? Like, is there a retail
Could
version?
be. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't play the retail version.
No,
no.
he
No.
needs his coaster.
Yeah. I need the coaster, so I just wanted to play with the coaster. I don't even care. But
Yeah,
no, it was a good game. I quite enjoyed it.
yeah, it was very interesting. And I said bad building, but they're cards that you
Yeah,
add.
it's
so
a card.
shuffling.
It's not bag building.
Yeah.
It's a card selection that you get, and then
So you
based
just
on the
shuffle it
number
and
of
hope that
sugars,
you
yeah.
get what you need. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It was very interesting for sure.
Yeah,
And that was
it's-
my number 71, Distilled.
Really, really good game.
Hmm.
Okay, well,
So that was it for this installment. So we've got 80 to 71 down. So that we're what, like more than a quarter down?
we're 30% done.
There you go. Look at that. Look at us go.
Mathing.
Matt. You should never do that live or on the spot. Have it written down first.
There you go. No, we pulled it off. We pulled it. Nobody will notice, right?
Nobody
guys?
will notice.
Perfect.
Yes, but that was it. So be sure to tune in next week for 70 to 61. We're getting almost halfway.
Man, that's
Ooh.
crazy. It's flying. Time's flying.
And we can't go beyond that yet because I need to get the presentations ready.
Well, that's okay. It's all good. It's all
All
good.
right. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.